This is a continuation of numbers in the mind and the aspects of what double numbers mean. I'll be going over all of this. I always write a little lesson plan before I start to record. I figure out what I want to say, and this way I could be as clear as possible. But this is about numbers in the mind. Numbers equal thoughts, and thoughts equal numbers. And if somebody would just give you a couple of numbers, like 71 or something, it has a specific meaning. And when you bring the numbers across, a 7 and 1 equals 8, just by addition, and then you bring the numbers down into a triangle, it'll tell you the events that are occurring in or around them, and even projects future events. I started realizing this about 40 or more years ago, and when people sat with me, I was able to make pinpoint predictions based on even the number cycle that they were in, because the cycle causes you to think a certain way, act a certain way, and it causes certain events to come up. So when you realize the cycle, you realize what the numbers of that cycle equal. And the concept is that a number's base is basically the physical aspects of the number, like 1 through 9. 1 is new beginnings and 9 is endings. But if you know it's a 10-1, then you know it has to do with the person's reputation. If it's an 18-9, rather than just the number 9, you know that they had some confusion and arguments and some tough decisions to make. So it gives you the mental aspect behind the scenes. But we're going to continue with our number research. Now, if you take the number 47, the 4 and 7 equals 11, which is 2. We keep bringing it down to the lowest number by addition, no subtraction. And the moon relates to July or Cancer people, and also February or Aquarius people, and those born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th of any month. And that 47 has to do with friendships through work or occupation, or through an association through finances. In other words, it's some kind of close relationship or friendship through a money or a work situation. And when you see this aspect of 29, there's some question of reliability of someone. And when you see 2 at the bottom of the triangle, it means that the person feels uneasy or unsure or emotionally very uncertain about things with this situation. The world's not always perfect. So if we take, instead of the 47, we take the 74, it still equals the moon, because 7 and 4 is 11, and 1 and 1 is still 2. So you still have the 2 series and the July or Cancer or February or Aquarius. That doesn't change. But when you drop the numbers, you come up with the 26, which is a reorganization, and it's the letter Z, which relates to Z or X, at the 26th letter of our alphabet. And it's usually a lucky thing, a lucky situation. And it's an aspect through a money or a work situation. And because you have the 42, there's a question of whether you want to be associated with the person or what your associations are concerning that person. Now, if you took the number 48 and you add 4 and 8, it's 12, and it winds up to be a 3, you're talking about Jupiter, which is Gemini or Virgo, September or Virgo, so June or Gemini. Actually, when you talk about the 3, you're talking about Jupiter, which is March or Pisces, as well as December or Sagittarius. Because when you bring it down to a 3, it's Sagittarius and Pisces. And also 4 and 8 is 12, and that's the sacrifice. The 12th card of the tarot is sacrifice to the plans or problems or intrigues of others. And when you see the 32, you know, there's a conflict about doing things the person's way or your way, depending on whether you're reading yourself. So again, it's December Sagittarius, March or Pisces, people born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, or 30th of any month. And over here we see conflicts, and over here there's some kind of sacrifice. And because you have Mercury on the bottom, there's some change in place or plans or going somewhere or travel. Now, don't process travel necessarily as a vacation, as some people do. Travel could be just a quest, going someplace to do something, even if it's local. It means that some movement would be part of the equation there. So I messed up a little bit. It's December or Sag and March or Pisces. Now, when you take the number 49, there's some concern over the health or well-being of a male, M-A-L-E. And well-being could just be how somebody's doing. And, of course, health could be dental, physical, or a medical problem or a concern. Sometimes somebody's just going to a doctor or whatever. But when you take the 4 and the 9, if you add it up, it's a 13 and it's a 4. It's again the planet Uranus, and there's some opposition involved, which of course goes back to concern over health or well-being. But there's also a change in place or plans, because when you add 4 and 9, you get 13, and 13 equals a change in place and plans. Now, if you project the 49 and it comes back to a 4, and you drop the numbers, 4 and 9 is 4, 9 and 4 is 4, there's some papers or forms, there's something being missing or wrong or messed up. And because the 8's on the bottom, there's a financial realignment. See, when you have Mercury on the bottom, it's change in travel. When you have a 2 on the bottom, there's emotional things and a lot of stress involved and some question about reliability. So the bottom of the triangle makes a difference. So with an 8 as the bottom of the triangle, there's a financial realignment involved. So if we go to the number 50 as an example, 50 has to do with Mercury in June or Gemini or February Aquarius, and those born on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd day of any month. And if you were to bring down the 5s with the 0, 55 always has to do with overdoing things, pleasures of the flesh, as we call it, overworking, too much overindulgence, over drinking, getting too excited or argumentative, too much sex, too much drinking, any excesses. And sometimes a 55 could also bring some tempers. In other words, it's a number of extremes or overdoing things. Now, I think I went over the 51 before, but the 51, is, of course, equals 6. 5 and 1 is 6. So you're talking about Venus, and you're talking about Taurus or October or Libra people, May or Taurus, which could be the end of April as well, and people born on the 6th, 15th, or 24th day of any month. And as I said before, this is a period of getting ahead, but at the same time, rivals or adversarial situations surface. So that's one aspect. But when you drop the numbers, 5 and 1 is 6, 1 and 6 is 7, a change in place and plans is coming up because 6 and 7 equals 13. When you have 4 at the bottom of the triangle, that's the planet Uranus, and there's some opposition in this situation. And that's why 51 is considered the card of Lincoln. Lincoln solved the Civil War but got assassinated. Now, I'm not to imply that somebody gets assassinated, but either a problem comes up or a rival situation or a competitive situation comes up in some way during the 51-6. But at the same time, the person's getting ahead, so there's a duality there. So that's why I said getting ahead, rival or adversary surface, and contact with people from your past. Any six series has to do with people from your past, which is relatives, friends, or whatever. So I'm continuing this series, and then I'm going to go into the abracadabra. So we're going to show you how the system of using the first 9 letters of somebody's name as it appears on the birth certificate. And this goes for married women or married people, or any. You use the name on the birth certificate as close as you can come to it. You throw away the nicknames and all of that, and you use the first 9 letters, and you start using the system, and you could pick every major life change that a person will go through. But you have to understand the way the numbers are. That's why I'm going through all of this.